Have you ever noticed how some years feel busy but unproductive, while others seem to quietly rearrange your entire life? You're not failing. You're not behind. In fact, many people watching this have been doing the right things for a long time, working steadily, making careful choices, staying responsible, yet progress still feels slower than it should. That frustration isn't imagined, and it isn't personal. Sometimes it's timing. And 2026 is one of those years where timing matters more than effort. From a Feng Shui's perspective, 2026 stands out not because it promises miracles, but because it changes momentum. It's a fire horse year, part of a rare energetic cycle that appears only once every 60 years. Years like this don't arrive to comfort or reassure. They arrive to move things forward. When this kind of energy shows up, it doesn't reward waiting, and it doesn't respond well to hesitation. Instead, it amplifies whatever direction you're already leaning toward, whether you're aware of it or not. That's why some people will feel pressure in 2026, while others feel relief. The same conditions can feel overwhelming to one person and clarifying to another. This isn't about luck or belief. It's about alignment. When a strong year like this arrives, it exposes where your energy has been building quietly beneath the surface. For some, that looks like sudden opportunities. For others, it feels like a push they can no longer ignore. This video isn't here to promise wealth or predict outcomes. It's here to explain why 2026 acts as a turning point and why 6 zodiac signs, in particular, tend to move with this year instead of against it. If you've sensed that something is shifting, if old patterns feel harder to tolerate, or if decisions you've delayed suddenly feel urgent, that's not coincidence. That's momentum beginning to form. And understanding how this year works may help you recognize whether you're standing in its current or just watching it pass by. Part 1: What makes 2026 different? Most years don't actually change your life. They fill your calendar, drain your energy, and keep you busy, but when you look back, very little truly shifted. You may have worked harder, stayed responsible, and made sensible decisions, yet the outcome felt oddly similar year after year. That experience is far more common than people admit, especially in cultures like ours that value consistency, effort, and personal responsibility. But here's the uncomfortable truth: most people never hear, not every year is designed to reward effort. Some years exist to prepare you, while a few rare years exist to move things forward whether you feel ready or not. From a Feng Shui perspective, 2026 falls squarely into that second category. What makes 2026 different isn't hype or prediction. It's timing. The fire horse year belongs to a 60-year cycle that carries a distinctly activating quality. This kind of year doesn't arrive quietly. It doesn't sit in the background while you think things through. It brings clarity, speed, and exposure. In practical terms, that means situations you've tolerated for too long begin to feel unbearable. Decisions you've postponed suddenly demand answers. Opportunities don't always arrive politely. Sometimes they show up as pressure, discomfort, or a strong inner sense that something must change. This is why people experience powerful years so differently. One person feels overwhelmed, while another feels strangely energized by the same conditions. The difference isn't strength or intelligence. It's alignment. In everyday American life, this often shows up in very relatable ways. A job that once felt stable now feels limiting. A routine that used to bring comfort starts to feel heavy. Conversations you avoided suddenly surface. You may notice that patience, which once felt like maturity, now feels like avoidance. That's not restlessness for its own sake. It's momentum building. Fire horse energy doesn't reward waiting for perfect certainty. It responds to movement, direction, and willingness to engage with what's already been forming beneath the surface. This is why 2026 tends to amplify outcomes rather than create them from nothing. If something has been quietly developing skills, relationships, unresolved tensions, long-term efforts, this is the year it becomes visible. It's important to be clear and realistic here. This doesn't mean everyone suddenly succeeds or that life becomes easy. Strong years are not gentle years. They tend to magnify what's already there. For some people, that feels like opportunity. For others, it feels like exposure. And that's exactly why understanding how this year works matters. Because once momentum begins, resisting it often costs more than responding to it. As we move forward, the key question isn't whether 2026 is powerful. It's how different people interact with that power, and why certain zodiac signs naturally move with this year instead of struggling against it. Part 2: Why not everyone benefits from this year. One of the most important things to understand about a year like 2026 is that strong momentum doesn't lift everyone in the same way. In fact, it often does the opposite. It reveals differences that were easy to ignore during quieter periods. When energy accelerates, it doesn't ask who deserves more or who has worked hardest. It responds to how aligned you already are with your direction. That's why some people feel supported by this year, while others feel challenged or unsettled by it. The difference isn't luck, it's compatibility. In Feng Shui terms, every year carries a dominant quality, and 2026 carries movement, visibility, and decisive force. This kind of energy doesn't blend well with indecision or avoidance. If you've been relying on stability at all costs, resisting necessary change, or postponing choices you already know you need to make, this year tends to feel uncomfortable. Pressure increases. Situations that were once manageable begin to demand resolution. That discomfort isn't punishment, it's feedback. Strong years don't create resistance, they expose it. In everyday life, this shows up very practically. People who have been drifting without clear direction may feel scattered or overwhelmed. Those who have avoided difficult conversations often find that those conversations surface on their own. Systems that were built on habit rather than intention start to feel fragile. This can be surprising, especially for people who pride themselves on being patient, reasonable, and dependable. But patience only works when it's paired with purpose. Without that, it turns into delay. And 2026 is not a year that tolerates delay very well. On the other hand, people who have spent years refining their skills, clarifying their values, or quietly preparing for change often experience this year very differently. For them, momentum feels supportive rather than stressful. Decisions come faster. Opportunities feel clearer. Even challenges tend to move them forward instead of holding them back. That contrast is important to recognize, because it explains why a powerful year can feel so uneven. The same conditions that overwhelm one person can energize another. This is where many misunderstandings come from. When people hear that a year is strong or favorable, they assume it will automatically benefit everyone. In reality, strength amplifies what's already present. If your foundation is stable and your direction is clear, momentum works in your favor. If your foundation is shaky or your direction is uncertain, momentum feels like pressure. Neither experience is wrong. They're simply responses to the same force. As we move into the next part, this understanding becomes essential. Because certain zodiac signs, by their nature, interact more smoothly with the kind of energy 2026 brings. Not because they're better or luckier, but because their inherent tendencies align more naturally with movement, decision, and visibility. Recognizing that difference helps explain why this year carries opportunity for some and friction for others, and why knowing where you stand matters more than hoping for a universal outcome. Part 3: The 6 zodiac signs most aligned with 2026. November 1 Pig. If you were born under the Pig zodiac, the past several years may have felt unusually heavy in a quiet way. Not dramatic, not chaotic, just slow. Progress required more effort than it should have, and results often arrived late or only partially. You may have kept showing up, kept doing what was expected, and kept holding things together, even while feeling a subtle fatigue that was hard to explain. This wasn't failure, and it wasn't a lack of ability. It was pressure building beneath the surface, waiting for the right conditions to shift. In Feng Shui terms, the pig carries a water-based nature, and water doesn't force movement. It waits for the right temperature. In 2026, that temperature changes. One of the biggest misunderstandings about water energy is the idea that fire destroys it. In reality, when fire is applied correctly, water doesn't disappear. It transforms, it rises. This is the core reason the pig aligns so strongly with the fire horse year. The energy of 2026 doesn't drain pig energy, it lifts it. What has felt stagnant begins to move again, not through sudden risk or reckless change, but through reactivation. Old efforts regain relevance. Past connections resurface. Opportunities that once stalled quietly return with new momentum. For many pigs, this feels less like something new arriving and more like life picking up a thread that was never truly dropped. In practical, everyday terms, this often shows up financially as continuity rather than surprise. This is not typically a year of gambling or dramatic leaps. Instead, it's a year where unfinished projects, previous investments of time, or long-standing professional relationships start to pay off. You may find that people remember your reliability, your consistency, and your ability to handle responsibility when things get complicated. In American work culture, where trust and follow-through matter deeply, this kind of recognition can translate into renewed income streams, second chances, or opportunities that feel earned rather than lucky. Emotionally, the fire horse year brings a noticeable softening for the pig. Water energy absorbs a great deal, often more than it expresses. Over time, this can lead to quiet emotional weight, especially for those who prioritize harmony and avoid conflict. In 2026, fire introduces warmth into that inner world. Communication becomes easier. Conversations that once felt tense or draining feel more honest and direct. Old emotional burdens begin to loosen without being forced. This can improve relationships not through dramatic change, but through a gradual return of ease and mutual understanding. Many pigs report feeling lighter, clearer, and more at peace with decisions they've already made. What makes this alignment especially powerful is that it doesn't require the pig to become someone else. There's no demand to be louder, more aggressive, or more confrontational. The year works because it complements the pig's natural rhythm. Water rises when conditions are right. It doesn't rush, but once it moves steadily. This is why 2026 tends to reward patience that has been paired with quiet preparation. The pig's strength has always been endurance, compassion, and the ability to maintain stability under pressure. This year finally acknowledges that strength by giving it upward movement. However, there is an important balance to maintain. While the fire horse year supports the pig, it also requires responsiveness. Ignoring opportunities, dismissing returning connections, or staying overly cautious can limit how much momentum you experience. The key is discernment, not withdrawal. This is a year to say yes selectively, to revisit what once mattered, and to allow growth without forcing it. Simple environmental adjustments clear spaces, supportive routines, and intentional pacing help reinforce this alignment by preventing water energy from becoming overwhelmed or stagnant again. As we move forward, it's important to understand that the pig's experience in 2026 sets the tone for how alignment works throughout this year. This is not about sudden transformation, but about elevation. The pig shows us that when preparation meets the right conditions, movement doesn't have to be dramatic to be meaningful. And, as we continue to the next zodiac signs, you'll see how different energies respond to the same fire in very different, but equally revealing ways. Number 2. Dragon. If you were born under the dragon zodiac, you've likely spent much of your life sensing that you're meant for more. Not in an arrogant way, but in a quiet, persistent knowing that your capacity runs deeper than what you've been asked to use. Dragons often carry responsibility early. They plan ahead, think long-term, and instinctively take on leadership, even when no title is offered. Yet for many dragons, the past few years may have felt strangely underwhelming. You may have been capable, prepared, even ahead of others in skill or vision, but timing didn't cooperate. Progress felt slower than expected, and recognition arrived later than it should have. That disconnect wasn't a personal failure. It was a mismatch between your readiness and the environment around you. From a Feng Shui perspective, the dragon is closely associated with earth energy. Earth builds, holds, stabilizes, and endures. It's dependable, structured, and resilient, but when left unsupported for too long, it can become heavy or stagnant. This is where 2026 changes everything. The Fire Horse year introduces strong fire energy, and in the elemental cycle, fire nourishes earth. It warms the ground, activates what lies dormant, and allows growth to emerge. For the dragon, this combination is deeply supportive. What once felt slow begins to respond. What felt unseen starts to surface. In real-world terms, this often shows up as a noticeable shift in career and purpose. Dragons may find themselves stepping into positions of greater influence, sometimes without actively seeking them. People begin to listen more closely. Decisions carry more weight. Opportunities arise that require leadership rather than effort alone. In American professional culture, where competence and reliability eventually earn trust, this year tends to validate what dragons have been building quietly. Promotions, expansions, or leadership roles often come not as sudden breakthroughs, but as natural next steps that finally align with your capabilities. Financially, 2026 supports growth that is solid rather than speculative. This is not a year that favors shortcuts or risky leaps. Instead, wealth tends to increase through responsibility, structure, and long-term planning. Dragons who manage teams, businesses, property, or complex systems often benefit the most, as fire energy energizes their earth-based strengths. Income becomes more stable, and long-term investments begin to show clearer potential. This kind of progress may not feel flashy, but it carries staying power, which aligns perfectly with the dragon's nature. Emotionally, the Fire Horse year brings an important softening. Dragons are often strong on the outside and guarded within. Carrying responsibility for long periods can lead to isolation, even when surrounded by others. In 2026, warmth enters that inner space. Communication becomes more open. You may feel more comfortable expressing needs, sharing concerns, or allowing others to support you. Relationships tend to deepen through mutual respect rather than intensity. This doesn't weaken the dragon, it balances it. Strength becomes shared rather than carried alone. One of the most meaningful shifts for dragons in 2026 is the feeling of alignment. The effort you put in begins to match the results you receive. That doesn't mean everything becomes easy, but it does mean your energy is no longer wasted. Actions feel purposeful, choices feel clearer. There's a growing sense that you're standing in the right place at the right time, not because of luck, but because the groundwork has already been laid. That said, this year does ask something of the dragon. Fire may nourish earth, but it also requires engagement. Remaining overly cautious, avoiding visibility, or holding back out of habit can limit how fully this alignment unfolds. The invitation of 2026 is to step forward when called, to accept responsibility without overburdening yourself, and to trust that your preparation has value. Simple environmental support, keeping workspaces organized, allowing light and activity into key areas of life, and maintaining clear routines helps reinforce this momentum. As we continue through the Zodiac signs, the dragon's experience highlights a key theme of 2026. This is a year that rewards those who have built patiently and are willing to be seen. Fire doesn't ask the dragon to change its nature. It simply activates what has already been there, waiting for the right moment to rise. Number 3. Rat. If you were born under the rat zodiac, your greatest strength has always been your mind. You notice patterns quickly, anticipate problems before they surface, and instinctively look for better ways to move forward. You're rarely unprepared. Yet paradoxically, this mental sharpness may have been the very thing that slowed you down in recent years. Too many options, too many calculations, too many possible outcomes competing for your attention. Instead of feeling empowered, you may have felt scattered, as if you were constantly thinking your way around a decision rather than through it. That inner restlessness isn't a flaw. It's a sign that your energy has been waiting for direction. In 2026, that direction becomes clearer. In Feng Shui, the rat is associated with water energy. Water governs intelligence, adaptability, strategy, and flow. It moves quickly, changes form easily, and finds pathways where others see obstacles. But when water spreads in too many directions at once, it loses force. This has been a common experience for rats in recent cycles. The Fire Horse year changes that dynamic. Fire, when applied correctly, doesn't fight water. It heats it, focuses it and gives it upward momentum. This is why 2026 is such a pivotal year for the rat. The mental noise begins to settle, not because there's less to consider, but because clarity replaces overanalysis. In everyday life, this often feels like a shift from endless planning to decisive action. Ideas that once felt half-formed suddenly feel workable. Opportunities appear that require quick but confident responses. You may notice that people start coming to you for answers, not because you speak louder, but because your thinking feels more grounded and timely. In American work and business culture, this kind of clarity is highly valued. The rat's natural intelligence finally aligns with the pace of the environment, allowing insight to translate into results rather than remaining stuck in the planning stage. Financially, 2026 tends to be fast-moving for the rat. This is not necessarily about massive, overnight gains, but about momentum. Income opportunities may arrive suddenly and require quick judgment. Small openings can lead to larger outcomes if handled decisively. The greatest advantage rats have this year is timing. The greatest risk is hesitation. Overthinking choices that require action can cause opportunities to pass just as quickly as they appeared. At the same time, impulsive decisions made without grounding can scatter energy again. The balance point is trust in your sharpened intuition, and trust that you don't need perfect certainty to move forward. Emotionally, the fire horse year brings a noticeable release of mental pressure. Rats often carry concerns silently, replaying conversations, decisions, and responsibilities internally. In 2026, that internal loop begins to loosen. Communication becomes more direct. You may find yourself saying what you've been thinking instead of holding it in. This can improve relationships significantly, especially those that have felt strained by misunderstandings or unspoken expectations. Clearer expression leads to cleaner boundaries, which in turn brings a sense of relief and emotional steadiness. Another important shift for the rat this year is the ability to let go of outdated mental patterns. Worries that once felt necessary begin to lose their grip. Guilt over past choices fades as you recognize how much you've already adapted and learned. This doesn't mean life becomes simple, but it does mean your mind becomes quieter. And for a rat, a calm mind is one of the most powerful tools available. When thoughts align instead of competing, direction becomes obvious. To fully benefit from this alignment, the rat needs to simplify rather than add more. This is not a year to chase every possibility or prove intelligence through complexity. It's a year to choose one or two directions and commit. Small environmental adjustments, clear work surfaces, focused routines, and warm, steady lighting can support this mental clarity by preventing overstimulation. When your space feels ordered, your thinking follows. As we continue to the next zodiac signs, the rat's experience highlights a central lesson of 2026. Speed alone is not the advantage. Precision is. This year doesn't ask the rat to think harder. It asks you to think clearly, decide confidently, and allow focused action to replace endless calculation. When that shift happens, momentum becomes natural, and progress finally feels proportional to your intelligence and effort. Number 4. Rabbit. If you were born under the rabbit zodiac, chances are you've spent much of your life paying close attention to the emotional climate around you. You sense changes before they're spoken, notice tension others ignore, and often adjust yourself to keep things smooth. That sensitivity is not weakness, but over time it can become exhausting. In recent years, many rabbits have felt quietly drained not from dramatic crises, but from carrying too much responsibility for harmony, comfort, and emotional balance. You may have felt as if you were always giving more than you received, adapting more than you were acknowledged. That imbalance is exactly what 2026 begins to correct. In Feng Shui, the rabbit is associated with wood energy. Wood represents growth, compassion, creativity, and the ability to regenerate. It grows steadily, not forcefully, and it thrives when conditions are supportive. However, when wood is left in poor conditions, too much shade, too little nourishment, it weakens, even though its nature is to grow. The fire horse year changes those conditions. Fire feeds on wood, but in doing so, it gives something back: warmth, direction, and light. This is why 2026 feels different for the rabbit. Your energy is no longer dispersed or taken for granted. It begins to move with purpose. In practical, everyday terms, this often shows up as steadier progress rather than sudden breakthroughs. Financially, 2026 tends to favor rabbits who value consistency over risk. Income may increase gradually through work that aligns with your natural strengths: communication, care, creativity, teaching, design, or roles that require emotional intelligence. Opportunities unfold in a way that feels safe and sustainable, rather than overwhelming. This is important because rabbits don't thrive under constant pressure. They thrive when growth feels trustworthy. In American life, where burnout is common and speed is often mistaken for success, this kind of steady improvement can feel deeply reassuring. Emotionally, the fire horse year brings a significant shift. Rabbits are naturally empathetic, but that empathy can turn into self-neglect if boundaries aren't clear. In 2026, clarity begins to replace emotional overload. You may find it easier to say no without guilt, to express needs without over-explaining, and to release old emotional weight that no longer belongs to you. Relationships tend to soften and stabilize. For those in partnerships, this year supports emotional safety and mutual care rather than intensity. For single rabbits, new connections often feel calm and familiar, as if your nervous system finally has room to rest. One of the most important lessons 2026 brings for the rabbit is this: you don't need to shrink to stay safe. In the past, avoiding attention or minimizing your needs may have felt protective. But this year, shrinking only limits your growth. Fire horse energy doesn't demand that you become aggressive or outspoken. It simply asks you to remain rooted while you grow. When wood is grounded, it doesn't fear the fire, it uses it. This shift allows rabbits to grow without losing their gentleness, to become stronger without becoming hardened. There is also a quiet confidence that emerges for rabbits in 2026. Decisions feel less emotionally taxing. You stop replaying past hurts or second-guessing your instincts as often. That doesn't mean sensitivity disappears. It becomes more selective. You learn where to invest your care and where to conserve it. This balance is what allows progress to feel nourishing rather than draining. Over time, that emotional stability supports better financial and personal outcomes, because your energy is no longer scattered across too many concerns. To fully align with this year, rabbits benefit from environments that support calm growth. Clear, uncluttered spaces, natural light, and living elements like plants help reinforce wood energy without overstimulation. Routine matters more than intensity. Small, consistent actions compound into meaningful change. This is not a year to rush or compare yourself to others. It's a year to trust your pace and allow growth to happen organically. As we move to the next zodiac sign, the rabbit's experience highlights another essential truth about 2026. Momentum doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like peace returning, clarity settling in, and progress finally feeling sustainable. When that happens, growth becomes not only possible, but deeply satisfying, and it sets the stage for the more forceful energies that follow. Number 5. OX. If you were born under the Ox zodiac, your life has probably never been about shortcuts. You work steadily, carry responsibility without much complaint, and tend to value reliability over recognition. You do what needs to be done even when no one is watching, and for a long time, that effort may have felt invisible. Progress came slowly, rewards were delayed, and it may have seemed as though others advanced more quickly while you stayed behind, holding everything together. That experience isn't a sign that you were overlooked. It's a sign that you were building something meant to last. In 2026, that difference finally becomes visible. In Feng Shui, the ox is closely tied to earth energy. Earth represents endurance, patience, structure, and the ability to support long-term growth. It doesn't rush, and it doesn't collapse easily. But earth can become heavy when it carries too much for too long without warmth or movement. The fire horse year introduces exactly what earth needs: activation. In the elemental cycle, fire nourishes earth. It warms the soil, brings hidden potential to the surface, and prepares the ground for harvest. This is why 2026 is such a pivotal year for the ox. The effort you've invested over time begins to convert into tangible results. Financially, this year is rarely about dramatic risk or sudden windfalls for the ox. Instead, it's about stability finally paying off. Income becomes more predictable. Savings strengthen. Long-term plans feel more secure. Opportunities tend to come through channels you already understand: trusted partnerships, promotions, established skills, or projects that build on existing foundations. In American culture, where dependability and follow-through are often rewarded over time, this year validates the ox's steady approach. You may find that people rely on you more, not as a burden, but as a recognition of your capability. Emotionally, the fire horse year brings relief from a different kind of weight. Ox energy often carries obligations quietly, prioritizing duty over personal comfort. Over time, this can lead to emotional heaviness or a sense of being stuck in routine. In 2026, warmth enters that space. You may feel more supported, less alone in your responsibilities, and more willing to share the load. Relationships tend to deepen through commitment rather than intensity. For couples, this can be a year of shared goals and long-term planning. For single oxen, connections formed now often feel serious, grounded, and trustworthy, rather than fleeting. One of the most important shifts for the ox this year is the sense that effort finally matches outcome. You may not move faster than everyone else, but you move with confidence. Decisions feel less stressful because they're rooted in experience rather than guesswork. There's a growing sense that you're no longer just maintaining, you're consolidating. That distinction matters. Maintenance keeps things from falling apart. Consolidation builds something stronger. In 2026, the ox transitions from holding the line to reinforcing it. However, this year also asks the ox to remain flexible. While fire supports earth, too much rigidity can limit growth. Holding on to outdated routines or refusing to adjust simply because this is how it's always been can slow momentum. The invitation of 2026 is to allow warmth into your structure, to modernize where needed, and to trust that adapting doesn't mean abandoning your values. Small changes, updating systems, reorganizing priorities, or allowing help can significantly increase how much benefit you receive from this cycle. Environment plays an important role for the ox in reinforcing this alignment. Spaces that feel grounded, organized, and well-lit help support clarity and calm. Clutter, especially in areas tied to work or rest, can weigh down earth energy unnecessarily. Simple consistency, regular routines, clear boundaries, and steady pacing does more to support the ox in 2026 than dramatic action ever could. As we move toward the final zodiac sign, the ox's experience highlights a powerful truth about this year: not all momentum is loud. Sometimes it looks like security returning, pressure easing, and long-term effort finally being acknowledged. For the ox, 2026 is not about proving worth. It's about receiving the results of work that has already been done and preparing the ground for a future that feels stable, supported, and sustainable. Number 6, horse. If you were born under the horse zodiac, 2026 is not just another year on the calendar. It's your year, and that matters more than most people realize. In Feng Shui, a zodiac year already carries heightened significance, but when that year is also governed by fire, the effect intensifies. Fire meeting fire doesn't whisper, it accelerates. For many horses, the feeling leading into 2026 is unmistakable: a growing sense of urgency, restlessness, and clarity arriving at the same time. You may feel as though life has been quietly preparing you for movement, and now it's asking you to respond. The horse naturally represents motion, independence, courage, and forward drive. You're not designed to stay still for long. Yet in recent years, some horses may have felt constrained by circumstances, responsibilities, or hesitation born from experience. You may have learned to slow down, to be more cautious, or to wait for better conditions. While that restraint had value, it doesn't define the energy of 2026. This year doesn't reward holding back. It rewards directed movement. The difference is subtle but critical. Moving blindly burns energy. Moving with clarity creates momentum. In practical terms, 2026 often brings a turning point in career or life direction for horses. Some experience rapid advancement within their current path, greater visibility, leadership opportunities, or recognition that arrives faster than expected. Others feel called to change course entirely, launching a business, starting a new role, or committing to a long-delayed goal. What's important to understand is that these shifts are rarely random. They feel aligned, even when they're bold. When horses move in the right direction this year, circumstances tend to support them quickly. Doors open, help appears, timing improves. This is what many describe as momentum finally matching effort. Financially, the Fire Horse year carries strong potential, but it comes with a clear rule: money follows decisions. Opportunities may present themselves through partnerships, investments, or strategic risks that require confidence and judgment. When choices are made from clarity, financial flow can increase rapidly. When decisions are rushed, reactive, or driven by impatience, the same fire can burn too fast. This is where many horses either rise or stumble. The year doesn't ask you to slow down, it asks you to be intentional. Confidence works best when paired with awareness. Emotionally, 2026 amplifies the horse's natural charisma and presence. You may notice that people respond to you more readily, seek your input, or feel drawn to your energy. This can strengthen relationships, especially those built on shared direction and mutual respect. For couples, the year often brings renewed passion and a clearer sense of where you're going together. For single horses, connections formed now tend to feel timely, purposeful, and meaningful rather than accidental. There's often a sense that things are falling into place without being forced. On a deeper level, many horses experience a heightened sense of guidance in 2026. You may meet the right people at the right moments or receive support without asking. In Feng Shui, this is sometimes described as noble support, but in everyday terms, it feels like alignment. You're moving, and the environment is responding. That doesn't mean the path is effortless. It means resistance decreases when direction is clear. However, this year does require grounding. Fire energy is powerful, but without balance, it can lead to burnout or impulsive choices. Horses benefit greatly from routines that stabilize momentum, clear schedules, physical movement that releases excess energy, and environments that feel bright but orderly. This isn't about restricting freedom, it's about sustaining it. When the horse is grounded, speed becomes an advantage rather than a liability. As the final sign in this sequence, the horse represents the peak expression of 2026 energy. This is the year in its most concentrated form. It doesn't ask the horse to become someone else. It asks you to move with awareness, courage, and purpose. Fire meeting fire creates extraordinary potential, but only when direction is chosen deliberately. As everything you've heard so far comes together, the horse reminds us of the central truth of this year: momentum is available, but destiny still requires participation. When you move with clarity in 2026, the path doesn't just open, it accelerates beneath your feet. Part 4: Simple Activation. By this point, one thing should be clear: 2026 doesn't respond to wishing, hoping, or waiting. It responds to readiness, and readiness doesn't always come from doing more. Often, it comes from clearing what's already in the way. That's why activation in a year like this doesn't need to be dramatic. It needs to be intentional. Simple actions, done with awareness, create far more impact than elaborate rituals performed without clarity. The most effective place to begin is your main entrance. In Feng Shui, the front door represents how opportunity enters your life, but in everyday terms, it reflects how open or closed you are to change. If your entryway is cluttered, poorly lit, or treated as an afterthought, it subtly reinforces hesitation. You don't need to remodel. You simply need to create openness. Clear what doesn't belong there. Improve the lighting. Let the space feel welcoming rather than crowded. This isn't about aesthetics. It's about signaling readiness both to yourself and to your environment. Next, bring attention to light. Fire horse energy responds strongly to visibility. Dark, stagnant spaces tend to slow momentum, while light encourages movement and clarity. This doesn't mean flooding your home with brightness. It means allowing light where it's been blocked, opening curtains, turning on a lamp that's gone unused, or spending more time in spaces that feel energizing rather than draining. In American homes, where routines often revolve around convenience, this small shift can quietly reset how you move through your day. Another simple but powerful adjustment is reducing noise, both physical and mental. Excess clutter, constant background media, or overcrowded schedules can scatter focus during a year that favors direction. Choose one area of your home or work life to simplify. Clear a desk. Create a short daily pause without screens. Remove one unnecessary commitment. These actions don't slow you down. They sharpen you. When your environment becomes less demanding, your decisions become clearer. What's important to remember is that activation isn't about forcing outcomes. It's about removing friction. You're not asking the year to give you something. You're making space so you can respond when momentum arrives. This approach aligns perfectly with 2026 energy, which rewards movement that's clean, grounded, and intentional. As we move toward the closing message, keep this in mind: you don't need to change who you are to work with this year. You simply need to stop blocking what's already trying to move. When space opens, light returns, and focus sharpens, the path forward doesn't need to be explained. It becomes obvious. Final. As we come to the end of this conversation, it's worth pausing for a moment and looking at the bigger picture. What you've just heard isn't about predicting the future or promising outcomes. It's about understanding momentum, how it builds, how it moves, and how different people respond to it in different ways. From a Feng Shui perspective, 2026 stands out not because it guarantees success, but because it clarifies direction. It brings movement to what has been quietly forming, and it asks a simple but important question: are you willing to respond when life begins to move faster? Across the 6 zodiac signs we explored, one theme keeps returning. Progress doesn't come from force. It comes from alignment. For some, that alignment looks like renewed opportunity. For others, it looks like stability finally paying off. For others still, it feels like clarity replacing confusion, or confidence returning after a long period of doubt. None of these experiences are random, and none of them require you to become someone you're not. They reflect how preparation meets timing. When the conditions are right, movement becomes natural. It's also important to acknowledge that not everyone arrives at this year feeling ready. Many people are tired. Many have been patient for a long time. If that's where you are, you're not behind. You're human. Understanding a year like 2026 isn't about pressure, it's about awareness. Awareness gives you choice, and choice is what allows momentum to work with you instead of against you. If you've stayed with this message until now, thank you. That tells me you're thoughtful, curious, and willing to reflect on where you stand. Wherever you are in your life, I hope this conversation has given you clarity rather than anxiety, perspective rather than urgency. My wish for you is simple: that the coming year brings steadiness where you need it, movement where you've been waiting, and confidence in the direction you choose. May you move forward with calm awareness, clear intention, and trust in your own timing. And when the path opens even slightly, may you recognize it and walk it in a way that feels right for you.